Hi, boys and girls. I wanted to come to you today to talk to you about a couple of things that we've talked about in the past, how writers use similes and metaphors to make their writing sound so much better. Now, remember that a simile is when you compare two things using the words like or as. You are as sweet as pie. Are you a pie? No, but you're sweet like it. And a metaphor is when I'm saying that someone or something is something else. For instance, my husband is a night owl. He's not an owl, obviously, but he likes to stay up at night. So that would be, my husband is a night owl because I like to go to bed at a decent time. So today, I was looking through my books and I found a super cute book called The Toughest Cowboy. It's a really cute book where the author has chosen to use several similes and metaphors. I hope you can find some as I'm reading it. Besides that, the illustrations are really cute. By the way, I'm in my kitchen with my living room behind me, and if my animals come in, just ignore them. Grizz Brickbottom was the toughest cowboy ever to drive a herd of cattle across the open range. He drank a quart of Tabasco sauce a day, flossed his teeth with barbed wire, and kept a rattlesnake in his bedroll to cool his feet at night. Grizz was so tough, he could grind a branding iron into a belt buckle with just the stubble of his chin. One evening, after a cattle drive, Grizz and his cowboy buddies were finishing a hearty supper of fried boots and lizard gizzards. Grizz's buddy, Chuckwagon, the cowboy's cook, picked up his guitar and he began to strum. After a long day on the dusty trail, Grizz reckoned a good song would be like a breath of fresh air. Grizz reckoned that if he put down his tin plate, fetched a spur to scrape the gnats out of his nostrils, and he chose to sit back against the cactus to relax himself and have himself a listen. Oh, how I miss my one true love. Oh, how I miss that silky hair, that lovely smell, those kisses so sweet. As Grizz listened to Chuckwagon's lonesome song and watched the other cowboys wiping their mouths on their sleeves and digging out their teeth with their fingernails, he began to realize something was missing in his life. He needed another kind of companionship, someone with silky hair, someone with a lovely smell, someone who would give him lots of sweet kisses. He needed a dog. Grizz jumped up, feeling ornery as a bull with a blowfly in his ear. He snatched his plate off the ground and he hurled it into the air. It spun across the sky and it disappeared into the desert dusk. Chuckwagon stopped singing and everyone turned to stare at Grizz. What's eating you, Grizz? Asked Lariat, the fastest rope in the Wild West. It's time we had some new company round here, said Grizz. The campfire crackled and a spark leaped into the air. Lariat grabbed a rope, tied an end into a tiny noose, swung the rope over the flames, and lassoed the spark before it could hit the ground. What's wrong with the company you already got? He asked. You got no upbringing, that's what's wrong, said Grizz. You ain't had a bath in 6 months. You never heard of a napkin, and you use your fingers to clean your teeth and pick your noses. Didn't know I had more than one nose, said Lariat. Yours ain't the only one I'm talking about, said Grizz. All you buckaroos have got some bad habits, and it is high time we hitched up with someone who don't. Like who? Asked Lariat. Like a dog. A dog? Bellowed Bald Mountain, the biggest bronco buster this side of the Rockies. Are you saying a dog acts better than us? Bald Mountain stood up, tall as a house, and glared down at Grizz. Well, that is just what I am saying, said Grizz. Now that ain't fair, Grizz, interrupted Chuckwagon. A dog ain't got any fingers to pick his nose with. Besides, if I didn't pick my nose while fixing supper, I couldn't smell when the food was done cooking. It's not the point, said Grizz. As much as I'd rather you stick at picking your guitar, Chuckwagon, the fact is all of us here are set in our ways. You can't teach an old cowpoke new tricks, but a dog, that's another story. In no time at all, a dog will be behaving just the way you want it, like herding cattle, chasing off bobcats and mountain lions, and taking regular baths. Yeah, well, what if he gets tired of herding cattle, chasing mountain lions, grumbled Bald Mountain. Well, then he can ride up front with me. Just and me and, well, I ain't thought of what to call him yet. Chuckwagon strummed a worried chord on his guitar. I don't know, Grizz, he said. A horse with a dog on it? Well, that ain't such a bad name, said Grizz. I'll call him Doggone It. Soon after that, Grizz must have rubbed up against a lucky horseshoe, because the next time he was by himself in town, he spotted a sign that was posted outside of the saloon. Going out of business, moving back east, free dog to a good home. Grizz pushed his way through the saloon doors, imagining his sleek, strong, cattle-herding, bobcat-chasing companion to be. Wouldn't his cowboy buddies be surprised when he rode back into camp with a miniature poodle? Chuckwagon stomped his boots on the ground. Doggone it! The poodle scampered over to Chuckwagon, wagging its tail. Well, at least he's smart, said Lariat. He's already learning his name. Afraid she's already got a name, said Grizz. Her name is Foofy. You can only imagine what those cowboys are going to do next when they hear that name. Check out this picture. Foofy! Exclaimed Chuckwagon, Lariat, and Bald Mountain all at once. It's not very manly. That's right. And she's going to need some special looking after. Grizz pulled out a bowl out of his saddlebag. The word is she's a picky eater, so Chuckwagon, you'll be in charge of fixing her meals. And I've been told she's partial to French cooking. I've got a cook for a dog, said Chuckwagon. And keep your guitar tuned, said Grizz, because she needs to be sung to sleep at night, but not before someone takes care of her hair, he said as he reached into the bag, taking out a brush. That's going to be your job, Bald Mountain. My job, roared Bald Mountain, and he threw his hat down into the dirt. Bald Mountain might have been as tall as a house, but without his hat on, he didn't have much of a roof on top. I don't know how to use a hairbrush. And when you're done, continued Grizz, she'll need to have these ribbons tied behind her ears. That'll be your department, Lariat. Ribbons, said Lariat. My specialty is tying ropes, Grizz. Well, then you can make her a new leash once you're finished. In the meanwhile, I've got some cattle herding to teach. Come on, Foofy. Grizz headed off with Foofy at his side. Chuckwagon, Bald Mountain, and Lariat, they stood there with their arms crossed, sour as unripe prickly pears. That dog can fix her own dang meals, said Chuckwagon. And comb her own dang hair, said Bald Mountain. And tie her own dang ribbons, said Lariat. Come back here, Foofy. yelled Grizz from the distance. A dang cow isn't gonna hurt you. A short time later, Grizz came back dragging his heels. Foofy was padding behind. This dog ain't got the mind to herd cattle, he said. Nothing to fret over, though. After supper, I'm going to teach her how to chase mountain lions. As Grizz fetched a tin plate, a mouse popped out of a hole in the ground and scurried past Foofy. Foofy let out a whimper and then ran and hid behind Bald Mountain. Better be a pretty small mountain lion, said Lariat. Phooey, Foofy, said Grizz. I took a big gamble bringing you out here on the range. Grizz hurled the supper plate in disgust. It spun across the sky, level as a silver dollar on a poker table. Suddenly, quick as a jackrabbit, Foofy took off after the plate, and as the plate glided down in the far distance, ready to hit the ground, she caught it in her mouth. Foofy came trotting back with the plate, and she dropped it at Grizz's feet. Bald Mountain dropped his jaw. Lariat dropped his rope. Chuckwagon dropped his finger from his nose. Well, I'll be dipped in horse droppings, said Grizz. Before you could say, don't squat with your spurs on, the cowboys were jostling to toss the tin plate for Foofy, and soon they were throwing the plate to each other too. By sundown, they were having more fun than a young of a wrangler at his first rodeo. Finally, after Bald Mountain heaved the plate so far that it might knock out the evening star that was right in the sky, Chuckwagon said, why, Foofy ain't even been fed yet. I'm going to cook her the finest supper that's ever been made. And when she's ready for bed, I'm going to sing her the sweetest lullaby that's ever been sung. But not before I've brushed her hair, boomed Bald Mountain. All this running has messed it up. And Lariat said, just make sure you do a good job of it, Bald Mountain, because I want that hair shining like silk when I tie my ribbons in it. Guess who likes Foofy now? As the days passed, the cowboys continued to take care of Foofy. They fed her and sang to her and brushed her hair and tied it with ribbons and gave her regular baths. They became so fond of the smell of soap that they even moved to town just so that they could take regular warm baths themselves. While there, Chuckwagon opened a gourmet restaurant, one with tablecloths and linen napkins, and sang to the customers when he wasn't busy in the kitchen. And Bald Mountain, well, he became the town's first professional hairdresser. Lariat opened a gift shop where he sold rope holders for hanging potted plants and charged extra for wrapping presents with fancy bows. And as for Grizz, he started a business manufacturing his own flying plates. He branded his first name and last initial on the bottom of each one, Grizz B. And before long, folks were lining up all across the frontier to buy his product. Over the years, Grizz became so rich selling Grizbies that he was able to retire from being the Wild West toughest cowboy. Grizbies, Frisbees, you get it? But sometimes he still liked to drive cattle across the open range. So, boys and girls, did you hear any similes or metaphors? I hope so. I miss watching you guys write and seeing how creative you are. I'm anxious to see what you come up in your lessons. Have a great afternoon, and I will see you again soon. Bye.